Hello and welcome to Ani Short Stories. I hope you enjoy this story. I'm going to try and upload a new story each day. The Bloodstone of Arreton. The Isle of Wight was cloaked in a dense, foreboding mist as Holly Arnold trudged along the muddy path leading to the village of Arreton. She pulled her coat tighter around her against the chill, her breath visible in the biting air. Rumours had drawn her here whispers of a cursed gemstone known as the Bloodstone of Arreton. Holly, an investigative journalist with a penchant for the paranormal, couldn't resist a story this tantalizing. Legend had it that the Bloodstone brought death and despair to anyone who dared claim it. Originating from the days of smugglers and highwaymen, the gemstone had reportedly been stolen from a sacred burial site. Its crimson hue was said to shimmer with an unnatural light, as if imbued with the souls of the damned. Locals spoke of sudden tragedies, unexplainable accidents, and eerie apparitions surrounding its possessors. Despite her skepticism, Holly had seen enough in her career to know that sometimes stories held a grain of truth. The village seemed deserted when she arrived, its streets unnervingly quiet. Even the pub, usually a hub of activity in such places, was nearly empty. Only a few weathered old men sat by the fire, nursing their pints in silence. Holly approached the bar, where a gruff-looking landlord raised an eyebrow at her. "You're not from around here," he said, more statement than question. "No, just visiting," Holly replied. "I'm looking for information about the Bloodstone of Arreton." At the mention of the name, the landlord stiffened, and the room grew tense. The men by the fire exchanged uneasy glances, but said nothing. The landlord leaned in, his voice low. "Best you let that one lie, miss. Nothing good comes from poking around where you don't belong." Holly thanked him, but remained undeterred. As she left the pub, an old man hobbled after her, his cane tapping against the cobblestones. "If you're set on chasing the Bloodstone, go to Arreton Manor," he whispered. "That's where it started, but beware it's not just the stone that's cursed." The manor's secrets. Arreton Manor loomed like a shadowed sentinel atop the hill, its ancient stone walls entwined with ivy. Holly's heart quickened as she pushed open the creaking iron gate and approached the manor's imposing oak doors. A plaque near the entrance read, "Arreton Manor, EST. 872 AD, a chilling reminder of the estate's longevity and the centuries of secrets it held. Inside, the air was heavy, thick with the scent of mildew and decay. The halls were dimly lit by flickering sconces, casting elongated shadows that seemed to dance with malevolence. Holly's footsteps echoed as she ventured deeper into the manor, her flashlight cutting through the gloom. She found it in a glass case in the drawing-room of the Bloodstone. It was smaller than she had imagined, no larger than a robin's egg, but its beauty was otherworldly. The stone's deep crimson surface seemed to ripple, as if alive. For a moment, Holly could swear she heard whispers, faint and unintelligible, emanating from it. A sudden crash shattered the silence. Holly spun around, her flashlight beam darting across the room. A portrait had fallen from the wall, its glass frame splintered on the floor. The painting depicted a young woman in a bridal gown, her eyes filled with sorrow. Beneath the portrait, a name was inscribed, Margaret Hale, 1742–1763. Holly's stomach churned. She had read about Margaret Hale, the tragic bride who had fallen to her death from the manor's balcony on her wedding night. Legend claimed she had been clutching the Bloodstone when she died. The curse unleashed. As Holly reached for her camera, the temperature in the room plummeted. Her breath misted in the air, and the whispers grew louder, transforming into agonized cries. The glass case shattered without warning, and the Bloodstone rolled onto the floor, stopping at Holly's feet. Against her better judgment, she picked it up. The moment her fingers closed around the stone, an icy pain shot through her arm, and her vision blurred. Shadows coalesced in the corners of the room, taking shape as ghostly figures. Margaret Hale stood among them, her bridal gown stained with blood, her eyes hollow and accusing. "Why have you come?" the apparition demanded, her voice a chilling echo. "I want to break the curse," Holly said, her voice trembling. "How can I free you?" Margaret extended a translucent hand, pointing toward a diary that had fallen from the shattered glass case. Holly snatched it up and began to read. The diary detailed Margaret's doomed love affair with a smuggler named Edward. On their wedding night he had betrayed her, stealing the bloodstone and leaving her to die. "The stone binds us," Margaret whispered. "Return to its rightful place, only then can we rest. The manor's other secrets." As Holly turned the pages of the diary, a chilling realization struck her. Edward hadn't just betrayed Margaret, he had been killed himself by a jealous accomplice who had also coveted the bloodstone. The diary described not only Margaret's anguish but also Edward's desperate attempts to atone from beyond the grave. His spirit was restless, and he had become as much a prisoner of the bloodstone as Margaret. A sudden thudding sound echoed through the manor. Holly froze, every hair on her body standing on end. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, approached from the hall. She darted behind an old chaise lounge, clutching the diary to her chest as the footsteps stopped at the drawing room's threshold. A deep, guttural voice growled, "The stone belongs to me." Holly peeked out to see a spectral figure, taller and more menacing than the others. It was Edward's accomplice, his translucent form rolling with darkness. His eyes glowed with malevolence as he scanned the room. "Leave this place." Margaret's ghost screamed, appearing beside Holly. Her spectral hands reached toward the malevolent spirit, their energies clashing in a burst of light. Holly took the opportunity to flee, clutching both the diary and the bloodstone. The final trial. Holly's journey led her to the cliffs overlooking the sea, where Margaret had indicated the bloodstone must be returned. The wind howled as waves crashed against the rocks below. Holly stood at the precipice, the cursed gemstone clutched in her hand. The ghostly figures of Margaret, Edward, and his accomplice appeared, their forms flickering like dying embers. "Do it," Margaret urged. "End this." But Edward's spectre lunged toward Holly, his face twisted with rage. "The stone is mine." Holly stumbled backward, teetering dangerously close to the edge. Summoning all her courage, she hurled the bloodstone into the churning sea. The deafening scream echoed as the gemstone disappeared beneath the waves. The ghostly figures dissolved, their anguished cries fading into silence. The mist lifted, revealing a sky streaked with dawn. Holly collapsed to her knees, the weight of the curse lifting from her chest. The bloodstone was gone, and with it the malevolent spirits it had bound. Epilogue. Holly returned to Arreton, her mind reeling from the night's events. The villagers greeted her with a mix of awe and relief, as if sensing the curse had finally been broken. She knew she would never forget the horrors she had faced and the lives she had freed. As she boarded the ferry to leave the Isle of Wight, Holly glanced back at the receding coastline. The Bloodstone of Arreton was lost to the depths, but its story would live on, a chilling reminder of the price of greed and the power of redemption. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please don't forget to like, and even better, like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and I hope you have had or have a great day.